Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club for our double header. You've had the support race earlier with the McGann trophies. Now we're working our way to the main course. A lovely little super formula race here at Red Bull Ring for round 3 of this absolutely cracking championship. And I don't know if I've got the time to tell you all the weights and stuff like that. I suppose I could quickly run through it if I can find it. No, I'm in the Super GT area, that's why. Super Formula Season 3 settings. So let's have a look. I can tell you what weight they're carrying. They carry championship ballast in this championship, so their place in the championship dictates what they're carrying. I can tell you what the grid is going to be, because that is a reverse of what their championship order is. And if I have time, although I haven't seen the ready sign come up yet, in the chat we've got hello from Racer Brown, Skyjack saying evening, Rido saying hello from the fishing bank. Have you caught anything yet? And Skyjack saying, if I remember right, this race last season is where you gave me my nickname when you commentated on the replay. Maybe wrong though. Oh, I'm not sure, you know. I don't have that good a memory. So, maybe I'll tell you the table first, because if I tell you the grid, it gives away the table. So we'll go through the table first. The championship table for the Super Formula after 2 rounds is Homesick Alien at the top of the pile on 35 points. Talleyrand is second on 34 points. Shiren is third, but I haven't seen Shiren this evening. My word. The Russian sensation has had to miss this one, it seems. He's in third on 32 points. Skyjacker fourth on 30 points. Digital Blasphemy fifth on 30 points. Guesty sixth on 28 points. Racer Brown seventh on 27 points. Jim is eighth on 16 points. Alexis Maximus ninth on 12 points. Then Catula in 10th on 12 points. Turtle is in 11th on 9 points. Noxy 12th on 6 points. And JTX 13th on 5 points. And we can see there's a couple of those names not here this evening. And I'm sure they've got a blooming good reason not to be, because why would you miss out on a Super Formula race? So the grid will be: on pole is JTX, carrying 101% weight. Well, they're all set at 100% weight, but he's 1% over. But I'll just read out their percentage. So JTX on pole with 101% weight. Noxy in second on 102%, but we haven't seen Noxy this evening. Turtle Racing would have been third on 100%. Catula is going to be second, I guess, on 104% weight. We haven't seen Alexis and Maximus this evening. So Jim, I'm not going to read out the numbers because I'm losing track already. So Jim next on 103%. Racer Brown on 115%. I think he's carrying a little penalty ballast there for missing a round out. Guesty on 106%. Digital Blasphemy on 108%. Skyjacker on 108%. Talleyrand will be on 111%. Homesick Alien on 113%. And Pat will be on 110%. So yeah, Racer Brown's going to have a tough one right there. That high up on 115%. He's going to be a bit of a sitting duck, I guess. They're making their way around. They have the use of any of the tyre compounds, from racing super soft, soft, medium and hard, but they're only allowed to use the super softs once only. And we're having a 42 lap race around here at the Red Bull Ring. Turtle in the chat saying, gotta work tonight. Next week the Turtle will be back on track. So this Turtle, he's doing a bit of graft tonight, earning some cash for some upgrades on his Super Formula car. So there we see Guesty out there, getting to terms with his Mild 7 Renault. And he's doing a fine job. He's fastest man so far out on track. Racer Brown in the UPS livery car, I believe it is, making his way around. Then Talleyrand in the Subaru. Super Formula. Jim in the Honda Super Formula. Car 66. We've got the ready from Talleyrand. Catula in his Seat Super Formula. Book the trend and go why. Why not? And then we've got Pat. We haven't seen Pat's car yet because he was on Hollybobs. Oh, he's gone for a Williams replica. So do I call that a Mercedes-Benz? Or I guess so. Merc-powered Williams replica out there. Soon to be a Red Bull engine, I imagine. Honda possibly taking over the realms in Williams. We've heard no announcements yet. Digital Blasphemy in Bottas's car. He's looking for a win here this evening, I imagine. We race as one on the side of his black Mercedes. Skyjacker in the Chevy. Drive the Chevy to the levee, my friends. And Homesick Alien in a very old Williams Leyland. We're just waiting for the grid to form. And we've got JTX out there in his Super Formula. Can't remember what it looks like. And we will see once they take to the grids. But Guesty, fastest man out there. The weights are working in his favour, I believe. He's only... Oh, what's that? That's nothing. Don't worry. I'm getting sidetracked by Discord. It now tells us whenever we puts a video up, so it catches me out. So yeah, JTX on 101% weight. And I think he might be the lightest car out there. I can't see Guesty. He's not jumping out at me. He's on 106%. So there is the grid. JTX on pole from Catula, Jim, Racer Brown, Guesty, Digital Blasphemy, Skyjacker, Talleyrand, Homesick Alien, and then Pat. So Homesick Alien, the championship leader, has got a mountain to climb. Oh, that was the wrong button. That was the right button. There we go. So we're watching them on the grid. It's another long shot of the guys as they pull away, and it's looking clean for everyone. Looks like Jim's had a good start there in his Honda. Oh, there's a bit of a knock in there. Racer Brown got a tap, I think, from someone. Not sure who, and he's struggling to get back on the track there as JTX pulls away in first place. Guesty up into second. Digital Blasphemy has moved up into third place. Catula is trying to get into third place now with Digital Blasphemy. Oh, and there's a bit of a coming together between Racer Brown and Digital Blasphemy, and that's going to bunch them all up as they try and sort themselves out. And there's a red flag called. Red flag has been called. Jim's at the side of the road, and my word, I don't know what the cause of that was, but Digital Blasphemy and Guesty definitely having a small coming together, and the championship leader has come through up into second place. But we'll see the guys all exit out. Yes, there's lots of red flags being called out there. So Homesick Alien and JTX still carrying on for now. Pat in second, he's gone, and it's JTX, but he's ghosted. So he must be doing something in his car, but we cannot restart this race until a JTX quits out. And he hasn't yet. He wants to get that lap done. Maybe a bit of OCD from the flying fin. He's crossed the line. He's still cracking on. And there you go. He's gone. So Skyjacker was the first to call the red flag, but I saw Racer Brown getting a tap from someone. I'm not sure who. And he was off of the track. And then later on we saw Guesty and Digital Blasphemy having a small coming together. And I believe it looked like Digital Blasphemy was kind of stuck in the middle of the corner, waiting for Guesty to come back on track, which caused all kinds of mayhem. And I believe that is what brought the red flags out. And the final starting again. Let me get back into the game. It's taken no time to sort this out. Pat saying technically no message to exit yet. Homesick Alien saying, oh. Yes, Homesick Alien gained the best out of that issue. And here we go again, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube world. Getting ourselves set, ready for another humdinger. With JTX on that pole position. We need a smoother race this time around. Just keep it tidy, guys. They're not allowed to use the boost on the first lap. And they're away, and it looks like Catula's made an absolutely awesome start. JTX was quite slow off the line. It hasn't worked for JTX this time. Jim and Catula side by side going through the first corner, but Catula is ahead of Jim with Guesty in third place. Racer Brown in fourth. We've got Digital Blasphemy very close behind. And it's all very tight there with Skyjacker in the mix as well. But Catula leading the guys away with Jim in second, Guesty in third, Racer Brown in fourth, Digital Blasphemy in fifth. We've got Talleyrand in Pat is in sixth. Oh, that Subaru and Williams look very similar. That's going to be a struggle. And there goes the Subaru underneath the Williams. There's a yellow flag. Someone's off. No, it's Fernando. Oh my word. So Guesty is leading from Jim. Unbelievable stuff here. And Guesty is ahead of Jim with Racer Brown in third, Digital Blasphemy in fourth place. Talleyrand, he's managed to stay on track. We've seen in the first two rounds he usually... And if we were going to see him spin on this lap, we were going to start calling him turnaround. But he's done well, but he's very close to Digital Blasphemy. And now as they cross the line, the boost is now open for them. They can use the boost. But Guesty, no need for it. He's leading the way from Jim and Racer Brown in third. Digital Blasphemy in fourth, ahead of Talleyrand. Then we've got Pat in sixth, Homesick Alien in seventh, JTX in eighth, Skyjacker down in ninth. I don't know if Skyjacker's had an issue, but it looks like he's dropped away from the pack a little bit. And we saw Catula having an awful one. He was doing great, and we got yellow flags again. Who is that? That looks like JTX. JTX coming back onto the track. No, Jim. Jim back onto the tracks. I don't know if JTX and Jim have had a bit of a coming together, but Jim is down in last place, and this is not going well. Jim was up there in second place, but now Guesty leading from Racer Brown. Pat in third place. And Homesick Alien's got a lot of... He's got through. He's come up into fourth place with JTX very close behind. If we get on board with JTX as he chases down the Alien. And these cars are wild. And there you go. He gets a better run out of that corner. Comes up past Homesick Alien. That might have a lot to do with the ballast. And Homesick Alien just trying his best to stay up with the lighter cars. And Talleyrand has disappeared. Where's Talleyrand? Talleyrand is at the back. Turnaround. Has he had a spin? I'm not sure. He must have done. Him and Digital Blasphemy, because Digital Blasphemy and Talleyrand were quite high up the order ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker's up into sixth place. And we saw he was further back, unless I'm getting some dubious messages from the game. But Guesty 3.2 seconds ahead of Racer Brown with Pat in third. JTX up into fourth. And Homesick Alien's disappeared now. Homesick Alien. Oh my word, it looks like Homesick Alien's had a spin. This is going to be a spin fest here at the ring. And Jim not too far behind with better weight on the Alien. The Honda looking like his first victim is coming to him. With Homesick Alien carrying a little damage on the front of his car, but Guesty 3.3 second lead from Racer Brown. Pat in third place, and JTX in fourth with Skyjacker up into fifth. We saw he was quite far back, and he's back in the race again. Turnaround is there in sixth place ahead of Digital Blasphemy in seventh. And oh, I don't know what to say. Catula coming back into this race. We saw he was right at the back. And Homesick Alien now in ninth with Jim in 10th. Jim on the boost button there, trying to catch up the Alien. And Homesick Alien under threat from the Honda. as they make their way around here. The first corner, heading on up to the second. Homesick Alien pulled away a little bit. Don't know if he's been sitting on the boost button, not so much. And Jim just there, just behind. So Guesty leading by a mile. Guesty absolutely pulverizing the rest of the field here. Did a 1:15.7 his last time around with Racer Brown. It looks like they've all started on the racing softs. Pat 3 seconds adrift of Racer Brown, only a second ahead of JTX. And Skyjacker closing in on JTX as well. So Skyjacker on an absolute push here in his Chevy. After the first lap, it looked like he was right at the back, and he's come through the field, or the field have gone by him off the track. I think we've had a few offs with Talleyrand in 6th, Digital Blasphemy 7th, Catula in 8th. We definitely saw Catula off the track. And JTX struggling to keep that car in the white lines. You'll have to watch that. The admins are keeping an eye on the... Oh, and there you go, Skyjacker making a lovely move up the inside of both of them, up into 3rd place for Skyjacker. That was cracking stuff. So Guesty leads by 4 seconds from Racer Brown. Then we have Skyjacker just ahead of Pat, who's in a battle with JTX at the moment. The Flying Finn are trying to get some action going against Pat. And there is Talleyrand in 6th, just ahead of Digital Blasphemy, with Catula in 8th place. Jim is ahead of Homesick Alien. He's managed to get by the Leyland 77 car 66, ahead of car 77. My word, we've got some racing up and down the field. Not for Guesty though. Guesty's miles ahead of everyone. He's saying, see you laters. Auf Wiedersehen, if that's how they say it in at the Red Bull Ring. So Racer Brown in a 2nd spot with Skyjacker in 3rd. JTX is just edging ahead of Pat. Pat's got Talleyrand right behind him. And we've got a 3-way battle here coming up to turn 2. And Talleyrand looking for a way past car 4. It's very tight between the two of them, and Talleyrand up. Oh, it looks like Talleyrand got himself into a little bit of a JTX and Pat sandwich there. And Talleyrand is still behind Pat, but Digital Blasphemy and Catula managing to catch these guys up. And we've got a whole gaggle of cars here at the Red Bull Ring. Followed JTX in 4th, Pat in 5th, Talleyrand in 6th, Digital Blasphemy in 7th, Catula in 8th. And these all slowing each other down, which can only help Jim out at the moment in 9th place. 7 seconds adrift of those guys, a second ahead of Homesick Alien, the championship leader, carrying that ballast. Guesty then, 4 seconds. We saw he was one of the heavier cars last week, and they were just shooting past him along the straight at Catalunya. And this week, no one's shooting past him. He's saying goodbye. Racer Brown did a 16.2 his last time around. Guesty doing a 16.1, very close in time. Skyjacker doing a 16.7. He's 2-3 seconds, and Talleyrand and Racer Pat, that's it again. They're alongside each other. They've got Digital Blasphemy and Catula very close behind them. We've got 2 sets of 2 wide, and Catula trying to battle from Digital Blasphemy. He's trying to find his way between the Subaru and the Williams. They're both off wide, and it looks like Digital Blasphemy as the one that's gained out of that. He's up into 5th place, and Digital Blasphemy now ahead of Talleyrand, with Catulu in 7th, and Pat's been shuffled down into 8th place there. And Talleyrand's lost his car. Talleyrand has lost his car. He's off the track and he's behind all of them. My word indeed. So Digital Blasphemy in 5th, Pat back up into 6th, Catula in 7th, Talleyrand in 8th, with Jim only 4.3 seconds. He was 7 seconds behind that battle, and he's closing the gap between them, bringing Homesick Alien along with him. and that is looking juicy. Meanwhile, Guesty leading this race by 4.7 seconds. Racer Brown 5.7 seconds ahead of Skyjacker, and Skyjacker only 1.2 seconds ahead of JTX. JTX has just got the fastest lap of the race of a 15.455, and this is some racing we're having here. Digital Blasphemy 3.8 seconds behind those guys. He's used his boost a bit. He's used a quarter of a tank of fuel up, with Pat there in 6th, just ahead of Catula. Catula, the Spaniard, will be looking for a way past the Williams. He's going up the inside now, but he's got a wiggle on, and that gives Pat a bit of respite as he pulls away. And Catula with a loose back end there in that Seat Super Formula. Talleyrand in his Subaru Super Formula. Jim's closing in 4.3 seconds behind Talleyrand, and this is some corking racing as Guesty finds another second on Racer Brown. Is Racer Brown trying to conserve a bit of fuel? It does not look that way. He's not used any boosters, Racer Brown, whereas Guesty, he's using the boost. He's getting right liberal with that boost button. As soon as it's gone, it's gone. If you look at the bottom dashboard to the right of the picture next to the track map, you can see it says overtake with a half a moon above it. I don't know. And you can see how much boost they've got in there. And the little hoop above their heads on the air intake is green, meaning they still have boost. When it goes red, they're low on boost, and then it just goes blank, meaning they've used the boost. But Skyjacker did a 16.4 his last time around. Racer Brown a 16.6. Guesty a 15.9. And whoa, we got movement down here. Catula has got himself ahead of Pat now, and it looks like Pat has got turnaround right up alongside him, braking into turn 3. Can Talleyrand get by the Williams? And he does. The Williams is off. The Williams was on the gravel there. He had to lift. He had to get out of that one, and that gives Talleyrand a little bit of breathing space from Pat there. Jim only 2 seconds behind Pat. He's catching up lovely there. 1.7 seconds behind Pat. This is cracking. He's 1.8 seconds ahead of Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien maybe trying to do something tactically there, but he is carrying that weight, being the championship leader. And at the moment we're watching the Lucky Strike Honda of Jim, car 66, closing in on Pat. If we get on board, you can just see the wheels of Pat as he comes up along the straight, and he makes short work of that up the inside of Pat in turn 1, sorry, and he's through. So Jim up into 8th place. And we're on lap 10 of 42 already, with half a tank, and someone's had an off. Someone's had an off. It's not Talleyrand. Oh, I don't know who it is, but it looked like ahead of Jim there was yellow flags. He's 4.8 seconds behind Talleyrand now. It must have been JTX. Was JTX higher than that? He was ahead of Catula and Digital Blasphemy, wasn't he? So Digital Blasphemy has moved up into 4th place. Catula in 5th. We saw Catula spinning on the first lap. He was right at the back, and now JTX is having to defend in car 91 from car 20, the Subaru of Talleyrand. Talleyrand coming back through. And JTX in 6th with Talleyrand in 7th. JTX has got the fastest lap of the race so far with a 15.455. But at the moment, with a bit of tyre graining, he seems to be struggling with a bit of grip out there. So JTX in 6th, fighting off Talleyrand. Looking back from JTX's car, you can see car 20, the Subaru, looking for all manners of ways to get by JTX's Porsche car. So there we go, as we go through the corner, a lovely shot of the front of Talleyrand's car. It's absolutely delicious, and there's a bit of a gap there, 5/10. Talleyrand closing in the braking zone, as you can see. Oh, and JTX has got a wiggle on. JTX has got a wiggle on, and we see Talleyrand just whoosh by. And I think those tyres are starting to really hurt JTX at this point in the race, my word. So Guesty 6 seconds ahead of Racer Brown, with Skyjacker in 3rd place, and he's 5.6 seconds ahead of Digital Blasphemy. They're all on about half a tank of fuel. If anyone's trying to make a one-stop work, it's going to be tough because they're burning their fuel out around here. Half a tank of fuel on lap 12. No, I suppose not. I suppose half a tank of fuel could get them to lap 24, which is only halfway in the race, so maybe a couple of them are trying a one-stop out there. Guesty leading in the mild 7. Renault, car 85, absolutely pounding it out there at the moment. Racer Brown in 2nd spot with Skyjacker in 3rd. And I think Racer Brown, well, judging by the list I've seen, he's on the heaviest weight virtually. So Racer Brown in 2nd place. And Skyjacker in 3rd. Looking very tidy indeed, with Guesty leading, Racer Brown 2nd, Skyjacker 3rd, Digital Blasphemy in 4th. We've seen he likes to do one-stops in these races, so we'll just have to wait and see if that's what he's planning on doing. I think most of them might be one-stopping. Their fuels are doing okay. On lap 13 of 42, Catula up into 5th with Talleyrand in 6th. He's got himself ahead of the Porsche. Oh no, Talleyrand's had an off. Talleyrand's had a huge off. And JTX now up the inside of Talleyrand. This is not Talleyrand's race. He's struggling in his Subaru. Maybe his tyres also causing effect of his grip. With Jim now in 8th. Pat's dropped to the back. In 10th spot in his Williams replica. Whilst Guesty just absolutely pulls out more time on Racer Brown. Skyjacker unable. Racer Brown, even though I think he's on less fuel than Racer Brown. Digital Blasphemy 7 seconds adrift from Skyjacker. It's a long way to go. Oh dear. But Skyjacker seems to be doing the business at the moment for a podium position. Guesty leading from Racer Brown, Skyjacker in 3rd, Digital Blasphemy in 4th. JTX getting back ahead of Talleyrand in 5th, with Talleyrand in 6th. Catula in 7th, just ahead of Jim, but Jim's catching him up. Jim is definitely catching him up there, 1.1 seconds behind. So one to watch for Jim, closing that gap between himself and Fernando. Catula's used a lot of boost, where Jim's still got quite a liberal amount of boost left in his car. Homesick Alien we saw took the win at Catalunya last week, but with that championship ballast, it's nothing he can really do. He got a 17-0 out of that car, and Pat 7 seconds behind in the 17s. Oh, a little wiggle from Guesty, but he's got 7 seconds to play with before Racer Brown catches him up. And Skyjacker, well, you know, top 3 are the top 3. Nothing's changed. Fuel's starting to get down to a quarter of a tank for Guesty. Racer Brown also on a quarter of a tank. Skyjacker a little bit more. He's seeming to fuel save a little better than the guys ahead of him. Then Digital Blasphemy in 4th, with JTX in 5th. Talleyrand we saw having that off earlier, down to 6th. Catula just a second ahead of Jim. This is where the battle is between Jim and Cthulhu. Cthulhu using quite a bit of boost. And yeah, lap 13, you see Cthulhu had a 1:24.0, so he had a bad lap recently. And Jim is closing in on the Spaniard. Let's get on board with Jim as he chases down Cthulhu here, trying to get himself an extra position. Talleyrand's come into the pits, so interesting tactic from Talleyrand. He's into the pits. His tyres are looking a little worn. He's got a quarter of a tank of fuel, and that moves Jim, Cthulhu and Homesick all up a position. Also Pat going up a position. Talleyrand's only just got to his box. They're changing his wheels. They've got to top him up with some fuel, and we'll see where he ends up. But it looks like he's going to be right at the back. Guessed he's pulled out more time on Racer Brown. JTX, Digital Blasphemy's dropped down. Oh no, I think it's just a bit of a weird lag thing because he's still there in fourth. But Digital Blasphemy looked like he was having a bit of a lag issue, but he's still there in fourth place ahead of JTX. JTX is getting very close to Digital Blasphemy. I don't know if that's just the lag and he'll just suddenly jump. No, oh, yeah, he's bouncing around on my book. Racer Brown's come into the pits. Racer Brown into the pits now. Guessed he stayed out. So some interesting tactics at lap 16. Guys starting to pit. Skyjacker doesn't feel like there's a need to pit for him at the moment. He did a 17.5 his last time around. Digital Blasphemy goes over the start-finish line. In third, he's only 5/10 ahead of JTX. So Digital Blasphemy, he's been in the 18s. Maybe he's eking out that fuel, trying to make a one-stop work for him. He's in third at the moment, with Cthulhu also pitting. We've had a few pit stoppers. So Talleyrand 28 seconds adrift of those guys with his pit stop. He's gone on to the Super Softs, 3/4 of a tank of fuel. He's still got full amount of boost. He's got a full boost button availability that he's decided not to use just yet. And he's got himself ahead of Cthulhu in the pit stops. But Racer Brown's come out in 7th, just behind Homesick Alien, 7 seconds behind Homesick Alien, in fact. And 1.5 seconds ahead of Pat. Homesick Alien at the moment, his tyres aren't looking great, but he's got a fair whack of fuel in there. I think Homesick Alien is trying to make it to the halfway point. We want to see they'll be looking for lap 21, but it all depends on how those soft tyres are going to last. But there you see Guesty, 15.2 seconds. His fuel's starting to flash. I don't think he's going to see lap 21. With Skyjacker in second, JTX in third place ahead of Digital Blasphemy. So Digital Blasphemy has dropped behind JTX, but JTX's fuel is absolutely gone. He's on vapors, and I think Digital Blasphemy might be trying to eke it. Well, he has. He's eked out a lot of fuel in that car. Jim up into 5th place now, only 3.5 seconds behind Digital Blasphemy. So an interesting race from Jim. We saw he had an off, went to the back, and he slowly made his way through. Homesick Alien also good on fuel at the moment in 6th place. He's 36.4 seconds behind the leader. He's lost the car, but he's gathered her up. Beautiful driving from the Alien there, catching that car. He's 5.5 seconds though ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown was 7 seconds behind the Alien, but he's closed up that gap with Homesick Alien, I think, eking the fuel out. Pat in 8th. He's 11 seconds ahead of Talleyrand. Talleyrand having a very interesting race at the moment. Did a 15.8 that last time around on those Super Softs. And there is Cthulhu. He's gone on to another set of softs. They're only allowed to use the Super Softs once in the race, remember. And JTX has come in. We gathered we would have to, though. Jim now up into 4th place. Just under a quarter of a tank of fuel. So Jim is having an absolute corker. Homesick Alien also going around up into 5th. Racer Brown just pitting, trying to catch up the Alien at this point. And he was in 2nd place before his pit stop. Guessed his fuel is starting to scream out for, well, his tank is starting to scream out for some fuel. 12.5 seconds ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker's still good for fuel. We're on lap 19 of 42. So I think we've got a very mixed bag of pit strategies here. Looks like a few of them are trying to hang it out for one stop. And I would assume they were going to go onto the racing softs again, like Catula has. But Talleyrand did opt to go for super softs. They're lasting well so far. He's on his 4th lap on them, and they're not even showing red yet. So, not too bad from Talleyrand. He's 9.5 seconds behind Pat at the moment, who's 4.7 seconds behind Racer Brown. Racer Brown, though, closing in on Homesick Alien. But we assume Homesick Alien is trying to eke that fuel tank out for as long as he can. Whilst Guesty, he's put another lap into that tank. We thought he was going to come in that last time around. He only did a 120 though. He's gone from doing 117s to a 120. But it will be on lap 21 though when he comes in. But it's tight on fuel for Guesty if he wants to one-stop it. Skyjacker's still got plenty of fuel in to do a couple more laps. He's closing the gap between himself and Guesty. Digital Blasphemy, he did a 17.7. He's holding that ground between himself and Jim. Jim did an 18.7 last time around, but Jim's tyres not looking too tidy at the moment. Homesick Alien 4.6 seconds behind Jim. And Racer Brown is absolutely pumping in the lap times now to try and catch up with the Alien. Talleyrand's still not managing to catch up with Pat. Pat's ghosted at the moment. Oh no, just through the corner. But Talleyrand not managing to catch up with Pat. Pat doing a 17.9 his last time around. His fuel is now flashing. Talleyrand doing a 15.9. Guesty surely has got to pit soon. He's gone round again. I honestly thought he was going to pit on that lap. He's done 2 laps in the 20s, so he's turned his engine right down. But he's got to pit at the end of this lap, I am sure. But he's obviously tried to eke out that fuel to get a one-stop, and he's lost half of his lead on Skyjacker. It's gone from over 10 seconds down to 5.5 seconds. And Skyjacker's going to put himself in spitting distance of Guesty pretty soon. Digital Blasphemy, he's always good on fuel and tyres. Look at that, those tyres still look quite fresh. And he's still got quite a lot of fuel. He's going to go very deep into this race. Guesty has come into the pits now. And Skyjacker's carried on around. He's got the flashing light on his fuel tank. But he's decided to get another lap or two out of that car. Digital Blasphemy's gone in. Interesting. But he doesn't have to be in the pits as long. He won't be as stationary as long because his fuel tank's still got fuel in. Jim's come in also. Homesick Alien has carried on, but he's racing with Racer Brown. Racer Brown catching up the Alien, trying to get by. And he should be able to do it. His tyres are a lot fresher than the Alien. Sorry. Where are we? They've moved up here. There we go. So Homesick Alien has dropped behind, but he'll probably use Racer Brown's toe to save even more fuel. Talleyrand up into 4th, one of the first pit stoppers out there. Catula has moved up into 6th. But Guesty got himself out into 4th place there. Another set of racing softs. He's opted for no super softs and a full tank of fuel, so he's bringing her all the way home. Whilst the 3 cars ahead of him are probably going to have to pit again. 2 of them definitely. This one imminently. So Skyjacker's pit stop will be coming imminently. There you go. He's in. Racer Brown, I don't think he's going to make that fuel last a whole half a race. And Homesick Alien, he's still got a couple of laps left in that tank. But those tyres are starting to look a little worn out. So Guesty should retake the lead, and Talleyrand's early stop has pulled him very close to Guesty. It's put him in a very good position. Digital Blasphemy making that stop. He's come out in 8th behind JTX. Only 2 seconds though. And I thought he was going to go a bit longer than he has done. Skyjacker into the pits. Well, he's still in the pits. There's a lot of fuel going in that car, and he's been released. He's back out, and he's going to be behind JTX. Looks like behind JTX, ahead of Digital. No, ahead of JTX. So JTX has just come around turn 1. Skyjacker, the pit lane is after turn 1. So he's come out of the pits just behind Cthulhu. Interesting stuff, but Cthulhu's going to have to pit again, we assume. Talleyrand's going to have to pit again. Guesty, I think, is going all the way till the end. Homesick Alien, his fuel's flashing now, so he will have to come in soon. And Racer Brown's got a while yet until he needs to pit. We're on lap 23 of 42, and the strategies are starting to really come into play. Homesick Alien, I think the last man out there to pit, pretty much. Everyone else has pitted. Jim pitted earlier. Pat's also pitted. So Homesick Alien has gone around again. So Homesick Alien, the last one to pit. We're on lap 24 of 42. He's really eked out that fuel tank for himself in that 77 Leyland Super Formula. Racer Brown leading, but he's got to have another pit stop. He's 9.5 seconds ahead of Guesty. A pit stop cost Guesty nearly, looks like 45 seconds. But he did have to fill the whole car up, in all fairness. Pit stop cost Racer Brown, the 2 stops, a 35-second pit stop. So Racer Brown's got to find another 25 seconds on Guesty. Guesty out there doing good lap times, a 16.0. Racer Brown doing a 15.9. So Racer Brown, I don't think his races with Guesty today. He just wants to stay ahead of Skyjacker, and he is at the moment. Skyjacker 19.3 seconds behind the leader, 2.2 seconds behind Cthulhu. We assume he's one stopping also, as well as Guesty is, and he'll be wanting to get a jump on Racer Brown, and at the moment it's looking good for that. So Homesick Alien's come into the pits finally. Racer Brown still leading. He's got 8.5 second lead on Guesty. Talleyrand, the first one to pit, he's just gone fastest of all with a 15.325, 3.6 seconds behind Guesty. He's put himself back into contention. He was racing behind JTX and Digital Blasphemy earlier on, but with his 2-stopper and that early pit stop on the Super Softs, I think he's the only one who's gone on to the Super Softs. Racer Brown went on to another set of softs. Guesty went on to another set of softs. Cthulhu went on to another set of softs. So did Skyjacker. JTX stuck with the soft tyre. Digital Blasphemy sticking with the softs. So did Jim. Homesick Aliens put another set of softs on. He's not had to top up as much fuel either. So interesting stuff. He's 10 seconds behind Jim. Before, when they were racing each other, he was within 5 seconds of Jim. He might have lost a bit of time to him, but Jim might have to come in again. Oh no, I don't think Jim's going to have to come in again. Jim doing a 16.4 his last time around. He's only 1.8 seconds behind Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy is going to be tight on fuel there. 3/4 of a tank of fuel, and we've seen Jim is over 3/4, as is Homesick Alien. Pat's around 3/4 of a tank. Skyjacker, we know, is one stop in, is way over 3/4. So Digital Blasphemy, it might be tight on fuel. That'll be one to watch later in this race. So Racer Brown, ooh, someone's had an off. Is it Pat? Yes, Pat's had a bit of an off there. Trying to get back, pointing the right way. As Racer Brown gets a lap on him. Guesty is coming up behind him also. Stayed out of the way there. Talleyrand's the next man on track, only 3.8 seconds behind him too. These two, at the beginning of the race, were racing each other. Pat and Talleyrand. And now Talleyrand is putting a lap on him when he catches him up. Cthulhu having an absolute corker there in 4th place. He's going to have to pit again, as is Talleyrand, as is Racer Brown. But Guesty going all the way to the end, as is Skyjacker. JTX, I think, is going to have to pit again. Digital Blasphemy, it's very tight for Digital. His fuel, he might have to do some fuel saving come later in his stint. And Jim's caught him up by 1.1 second. Jim doing a 16.8. Digital Blasphemy a 17.5. So I think he's already fuel saving. Is Digital Blasphemy, with an eye on making that car go all the way to the end. But Jim is closing in on him. Sat on board with Jim. God damn it, Jim. There's life, Jim, but not as we know it. Not as we know it. Not as we know it. There's life, Jim, but not as we know it. Not as we know it, Captain. Jim on the overtake button, trying to catch Digital Blasphemy. He's just lost a bit of time to Digital. So maybe Digital just fuel saving when he can. And then as cars get closer, he starts flooring it again. And Jim maintaining that 10-second lead he's got on Homesick Alien. And he's pushing hard to try and catch up Digital Blasphemy. 0.7 of a second between the two of them. Digital Blasphemy doesn't want to be too heavy-footed with his right foot, because he's got fuel to save, I think. And Jim is closing in. Digi doing a 1:16.8 last time around. Jim doing a 16.5. So these two playing cat and mouse out there at the moment. Racer Brown still leading, but he's losing time to Guesty. Guesty a 15.9 last time around, and this one looks like definitely going to be all about Guesty at the end of this race, the king of the ring. Talleyrand holding that 3rd, doing some very tidy laps. He's the only one braved it to go on to the super softs. He's got a 1/4 of a tank of fuel left, and he's just catching up Pat now to put a lap on Pat. Cthulhu in 4th. He's 7.2 seconds behind Talleyrand. 2 seconds ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker, we think, is one stopping, as is Guesty, as is Jim, I think. Digital Blasphemy also is a possible for one stopping. Skyjacker less than 2 seconds behind Cthulhu. He'll be coming into the pits himself soon. He's under a 1/4 of a tank of fuel. His tyres are looking rather tidy though. That's really all the question is. We've got 13 laps left to race, and it's who's going to pit next. I think Talleyrand was the first one to pit the first time round. He's got similar fuel levels as Cthulhu, and that'll put Skyjacker back up into 3rd place. JTX, he's got a nice fair whack of fuel in that car. So he pitted quite early. He's 6 seconds ahead of Digital Blasphemy, 7 seconds behind Skyjacker, but JTX probably, possibly, definitely will need to pit before the end of this race. I don't think half a tank's enough. Digital Blasphemy still maintaining that position ahead of Jim. Did a 17.0 his last time around. I think he's trying to save fuel, but he's trying to stay ahead of Jim at the same time. And Jim's pulled about a second out on Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien hoping this race comes back to him when everyone pits. And Pat there, I think, he's lost a lot of time having to let people through. But Racer Brown is, the question is, when's he going to pit? Talleyrand, it'll be quite soon, as it will. Oh, Cthulhu's fuel is flashing as Skyjacker starts closing in on him. We're on board with the Chevy, and oh, we lost him. Did he have an off? Oh, he must have done. Cthulhu, yeah, Cthulhu had a bit of an off there. He's only 2 seconds now ahead of JTX. JTX will be happy to see the back of the Spaniards. Thinking, oh, hello, positions. And the Spaniard will be pitting at the, well, maybe not at the end of this lap, but he'll be pitting very soon. JTX still got a fair chunk of fuel in that car. Mama Homesick saying, come on, Homesick. Well, he's going tactical, is Homesick at the moment. But I think there's a few others ahead of him, also on a one stop. He's got to hope that that two stopper just doesn't work. I mean, what is he? He's 45 seconds behind Racer Brown. There's Catula, so that should be a position for Homesick Alien. He's 20 seconds behind Cthulhu, and the pit stop is definitely longer than 20 seconds. It's a long pit stop. So Racer Brown 6.3 seconds ahead of Guesty. As we're on lap 31, only 11 laps to go after this one. Talleyrand is in third. His fuel is flashing also. Skyjacker's only 8.4 seconds behind him. And I think Skyjacker might jump Racer Brown in this race. Racer Brown having to make that second pit stop, and Skyjacker only one stop in. There goes Racer Brown. He's coming now. He's got quite just under a quarter of a tank of fuel, so it's going to be a shorter stop, but it's a very long pit lane. So, but it does cut out that whole first corner. Talleyrand also coming in. Made those super softs last lovely, didn't he? So Guesty taking the lead now. He's 12 seconds ahead of Skyjacker, who's now gone up into second. I think he has jumped Racer Brown. Racer Brown's got it all to do in this second last phase of the race. He's gone on to the super softs. He's in third, so he's got out ahead of Digital Blasphemy. 3.2 seconds, and he's really going to have to do some work, is Racer Brown. He's 11.6 seconds behind Skyjacker. And that was quite a nifty little pit stop. It was a 30-second pit stop, but I thought Homesick Alien was going to close up on him. Homesick is definitely ahead of Catula and JTX, who's also pitted. Put on the racing soft tyres. And he's out there chasing down the Spaniard of Cthulhu, who's also on the super softs now. And these guys are going to be going hell for leather. Homesick Alien, 11 seconds ahead of Cthulhu. He's 3 seconds. Talleyrand got out of the pits ahead of Homesick Alien by 3.7 seconds. Jim, who we think is one stop in, only a second behind Digital Blasphemy. We also think a one stop in. Their one stop though wasn't enough to get ahead of Racer Brown. And that's very interesting. We're on lap 33 of 42 for round 3 of the Super Formula Championship. Guesty is leading on a one-stop strategy. I say one stop. They might make. They might turn me out to be wrong. They might come in for splash and dashes, but if he's got enough fuel and the tyres are okay, I imagine he'd want to go all the way to the end. I suppose it depends on the speed of these super soft tyres these guys have come in and put on. Racer Brown's already cut down a second of Skyjacker's lead. So even if he goes a second a lap faster, he will catch up Skyjacker by the end of the race. But can he get by? Digital Blasphemy in 4th place, just ahead of Jim. Jim's been looking at the back of that Mercedes Super Formula for a very long time now, and I imagine he thinks it's Digi's turn to go behind him. Digital Blasphemy a little less fuel than Jim, but possibly enough to get to the end of the race. Racer Brown, he's gone just over half a tank. Skyjacker's just under half a tank. Guesty's used up a little bit more fuel than those guys, so it's a one to watch. Talleyrand in 6th, he's 5.5 seconds behind Jim. Did a 15.9 his last time around. He's getting purples. Jim did a 16.8. And he's fighting digital blasphemy, but he might find that Talleyrand's going to be romping up to the behind him. Homesick Alien only 5-6 seconds behind Talleyrand. 8.7 seconds ahead of Cthulhu. Homesick Alien doing a 17.1 his last time around. Cthulhu doing a 15.6, so Cthulhu's on an absolute push. With JTX in 9th place, 2.8 seconds behind the Spaniards. Racer Brown's taken another second away from Skyjacker on his boost button. Skyjacker less than a quarter. You can see the light above his racing helmet has gone red, indicating he's only got the last quarter of his fuel, his boost to go. Also, Guesty getting low on that boost. Racer Brown's still got plenty of boost left. He's going to be chasing that Skyjacker down all the way, wanting his second place back. Digital Blasphemy, he's just got just over a quarter, and oh my lord, Jim has really closed the gap between himself. He's coming by, and this is the time. Jim said, I've had enough of the back of your car, I want past. And what a beautiful move around the outside of turn 3. Can he make it stick? Digital Blasphemy's still there. Digital Blasphemy, he's up, and Digital Blasphemy's back ahead of Jim, but Jim's got the inside line now, and these two are absolutely having a corking race here. And Jim's still behind Digital Blasphemy. Digital Blasphemy doing just enough to stay ahead of the Honda. Immaculate racing from Jim and Digital Blasphemy there. And it looked like Jim, he's obviously aware that Talleyrand is closing in. Talleyrand getting the fastest lap of the race. Last lap around with a 15.208. Closing in on Digital Blasphemy and Jim. Both of these two need to get a nip on. And there goes Jim up the inside of Digital Blasphemy, and he makes it stick this time. And Jim is up into 4th ahead of Digital Blasphemy. And I guess he's figuring he needs Digital Blasphemy to make Talleyrand's life hard, so Jim can keep hold of that 4th, because at this point it looks like Talleyrand is a force to be reckoned with. He's got the pace. He's got the pace. He's going to be wanting to get by these boys. Mama Homesick in the chat saying, do you use more fuel when you use boost? Well, I think the real cars do, because I think it's an injection of fuel, but I'm not sure with these cars. I really am not sure. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that it gives it a squirt extra of fuel, so you burn up a little bit more fuel when you cut through that boost. And Alexa saying, sorry for not be there, guys. Next week I will be there. Yeah, Alexis Maximus, we miss you, man. We miss you. And here we got the battle between Jim, Digital Blasphemy, and Talleyrand. It's a close one between all three. Oh my word, Digital Blasphemy's trying to get back up the inside. He's using his... No, Jim's using his boost, sorry. Digital Blasphemy's got no boost left. We're on lap 37 of 42, and it's hard fought battle here for 4th, 5th and 6th. Talleyrand on the fresher tyres than the two ahead of him, but he's struggling to get by Digital Blasphemy and Jim. Neither of them want to give any ground, and Talleyrand dropping back a little bit, saying that's all right, it can wait. And Talleyrand has used all his boost up as well. Homesick Alien 7.7 seconds behind those guys, still 6.1 seconds ahead of Cthulhu. Did a 16.6 his last time around. Cthulhu doing a 16.1. So very tight between these two. JTX 3 seconds behind Cthulhu. And Pat a lap behind those guys. But Guesty at the moment 11.2 seconds. So he's pulled out more. Oh no, it's Skyjacker we're watching out for, because Racer Brown trying to close down on a Skyjacker. He's been taking about a second a lap out of Skyjacker, and he's running out of laps to be able to make the decisive move. He's still got quite a bit of boost left in that car. Skyjacker down to the minimum of his boost, just finishing it off right now, I guess. He's got just a squirt left. Possibly he'll be saving that for when Racer Brown catches him up. Digital Blasphemy's ahead of Jim. Jim's dropped back a little bit there, and Talleyrand's making a move on Jim. Poor Jim. Jim, who's used all his boost. Talleyrand still, no, he's used all his boost, and Digital Blasphemy has used all his boost, but Digital Blasphemy moving ahead of Jim. And he's sticking in that 4th place, but Talleyrand on them fresher tyres is coming for Digital Blasphemy. And Jim there, he's just clinging onto the back, but those tyres are starting to look quite weary on Jim's car. Homesick Alien, 7.7 seconds adrift of those guys, and only 5 seconds ahead of Cthulhu. Cthulhu closing in on the Alien. Did a 16.2 his last time around. Homesick Alien a 17.2, so losing another second to Cthulhu, the championship leader, carrying the most ballast in this race. Struggling at the moment, Jim and Talleyrand. Talleyrand catching up Digital Blasphemy now, getting on board with Talleyrand. He loves to go out wide there to get the cut into that corner, and he's doing the job. He's up alongside Digital Blasphemy on those fresher tyres, and he's through. Digital Blasphemy clinging onto the back, trying to get the toe into the next race, next corner, and Jim back in there, back in the fight with Digital Blasphemy. Cracking stuff, but Talleyrand up into 4th, Digital Blasphemy in 5th, Jim in 6th place, with Homesick Alien 7th, Cthulhu in 8th. Oh, Cthulhu looked like he was hanging that car out there over the curbs. He's lost a bit of ground to Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien can take a bit of a breather now, as we had Cthulhu really closing in on the Alien, and we've only got 3 laps left of this race. So corking stuff. Guesty slam dunk today at the Red Bull Ring. We can call him the King of the Ring, because he has been king today. Skyjacker in a cracking second, but he's only 3.5 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown doing a 15.2 last time around. And you can see Racer Brown in the background there. The battle of the podium is not finished yet. It's just coming down to about 3 seconds. Talleyrand is some 17.3 seconds off of Racer Brown, but he's pulling away from Digital Blasphemy, and Jim is still very close to Digital Blasphemy, but they've got similar fuel loads now between those two, and Homesick Alien starting to close in on them. So Homesick Alien was 7 or so seconds behind Digital Blasphemy and Jim, and now it's 5 seconds, and he's 5 seconds ahead of Cthulhu. Cthulhu doing a 16.8 his last time around. Homesick Alien doing a 16.6, so Homesick Alien obviously feeling he's got plenty of fuel left for the rest of this race. And he's starting to push some laps in there, use his boost up. He's got half a boost left. Cthulhu's used all his boost. We know Jim's used all his boost, and so has Digital Blasphemy. So Homesick Alien saving that boost to the end of the race to try and get them positions ahead of him. Guesty then 12-second lead on lap 41. Skyjacker's only 2.3 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Did a 16.8 his last time around, or Racer Brown doing a 15.6. He's getting purples. He might take Talleyrand's fastest lap away, but he's got no boost left whatsoever. Skyjacker's got a little bit of boost. His fuel's flashing, as is Guesty's. But this is the penultimate lap for these guys. Talleyrand's plenty of fuel as he comes around on the penultimate lap. Digital Blasphemy, 3/10 ahead of Jim. Jim's tyres are a little bit more gnarled up than Digital Blasphemy's. He's looking to make a move into turn 3. Digital Blasphemy defending the inside line there, and there's no room for Jim, and has to back out of it. So Digital Blasphemy survives another corner, but he's under immense pressure from Jim in this race. Jim having another look at Digital Blasphemy there as they fight for 5th and 6th, and the more they fight, the more it should help Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien, though he's only 3.7 seconds ahead of Cthulhu, so I don't know if Homesick Alien made a mistake on this lap, but he's lost a whole chunk of time to Cthulhu, who's 4.5 seconds ahead of JTX. And Pat there in 10th. So, on his final lap here is Guesty. Done an absolutely super job in this race. He's done what he needed to do to take the win. A one-stop strategy as well. He's worried about his fuel, I guess. He's wiggling around a bit, trying to move that fuel around the tank. As he comes into the final couple of corners, he's into the final corner to come up to the line, and Guesty looks like he's going to take the win of round 3. Well done, Guesty. Skyjacker, he's only 8 tenths ahead of Racer Brown, but Racer Brown's run out of laps now, I think. Skyjacker only just clinging on to that second place, using the last of his boost. He gets second, and Racer Brown gets the final podium position. Take a boom, my son. Talleyrand in 4th place. Cracking drive from Talleyrand. He's been up and down. He's been in almost every position in this race so far. So he comes home in 4th place with that early pit stop. Digital Blasphemy maintains that 5th ahead of Jim, who comes home in 6th. Homesick Alien brings her home ahead of Catula in 7th. The championship leader. There is Catula in 8th place. JTX coming around that final corner in his Porsche Super Formula to finish in 9th. Super stuff, those guys. And here comes Pat to grab that final 10th place, his first race in the Super Formula Season 3. And done an absolutely cracking job. So Guesty is the king of the ring. And here we see, does he get a trophy? Yes, he does. Look at him hugging away at it, giving the wave to the crowds. Super stuff from Guesty. Great race, great strategy. I'll take you to the race results before the room gets closed down. And there you are with the race results. Guesty takes the win from Skyjacker in 2nd place. Racer Brown finishing in 3rd, Talleyrand in 4th, Digital Blasphemy in 5th, Jim in 6th, and you've got to say hats off to Digital Blasphemy and Jim. They had an absolutely corking race. The whole race, they were within a second of each other. Brilliant driving from the pair of them. Homesick Alien carrying all that weight, doing what he could, and gets himself 7th with a one-stop strategy. Ahead of Catula in 8th, JTX in 9th, and Pat finishing in 10th. Talleyrand got the fastest lap with a 1:15.208 on lap 34. That was absolutely cracking. Now, I've got a brain blank then. So Tuesday, we'll be back racing here on YouTube with the Super GTs. Don't forget to join us then. And Skyjack saying, cracking stuff. Thought I didn't stand any hope after early spin and spin on in lap. And Talleyrand said, yes, you do. I think he's answering Mama Homesick, saying, do you use more fuel when you use boost? So there you are. They have to account for that as well when they're doing their thing. And yes, the Super GTs will be on Tuesday evening, and we'll be seeing them racing at Interlagos, I want to say. And I want to say Interlagos because I'm correct. It's at Interlagos. So Tuesday night, we'll be back with the Super GTs in action around Interlagos. You know that means there's going to be some cracking racing. Always kicks up an interesting race, does Interlagos, and those Group 2s are going to look absolutely fascinating around there. Then on Thursday, well, Wednesday, we've got the pit stop in Discord. If you're in our Discord, you can come and listen to me and Skyjacker chat about anything and everything. Then on Thursday, we have the GTMCs, which I want to say is at Brands Hatch. Yes, Brands Hatch for the Super GTs. That's going to be something else. And then Friday, we'll be back here with the Super Formulas and the McGann trophies. And they will be racing at... Oh, it's a street race. We're going to have ourselves a little street race at Tokyo Expressway. So the week ahead of racing is absolutely fantastic. So don't miss a thing here at the Virtual Racers Club. For all your racing needs, we've got you covered. Beautiful stuff. And last word in the stream chat is Pat saying, replicated the Williams. Well, there, I think, consistent times, most laps, but about 2 seconds off the pack until the last 3 or 4 laps. Couldn't do much better tonight. Did a cracking job, Pat. It was your first race. They've got 3 rounds. They've already had 2 rounds to get used to their cars and the feelings of them. So you can't just hit the ground and expect to be on pace with those guys. I was your commentator and your broadcaster, Antique. Thank you for watching, and I will see you hopefully on Tuesday if you choose to join us. You'd be a fool to miss it. It's the Super GTs. It's special. Thank you very much for joining us. Catch you next time. Peace and love. Peace and love.